Guys, welcome back to MLG Classics, Best of the Best, where we selected 32 of the best games in MLG StarCraft 2 history, and we're trying to find the absolute best one, but we need your help in the form of you guys voting on which one you think is the best. We already saw today, actually, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket to see what we have seen today already. We already saw Bomber versus Ghost User, as well as Marine King Prime versus Parting from the 2012 and 2013 MLG Winter Championships. We just saw Light versus Pult, an intoxicating atmosphere there at 1 a.m. at the 2013 MLG Winter Championships. The last game on Saturday, Day 9 and Husky were awesome. Coming up next, though, you guys know what this is. It's Huck versus Idra from 2011 MLG Dallas. And I don't want to spoil anything for those of you who don't know what happened in this game, but it's awesome. And remember, while you're watching this, keep in mind the game you just saw between Pult and Life, because you must select between the two on which one will advance to the round of 16 of this bracket. So without any further ado, let's jump in to Huck versus Idra.
This series.
All right, well, we're going to be hopping into game number 2. It looks like the map selection by Liquid Huck is Metalopolis, and we are live in this game with Liquid Huck, our red Protoss, spawning in the north position here. And of course, because cross positions, well, I guess you can spawn close by air, but no close by ground. So it's either going to be close by air or this cross position here, and that's exactly where EG Idra is, the blue Zerg in the south position.
I will say Idra is going to be delighted to see that these positions are going to be cross-mapped. Idra, again, the patient player, loves the long macro games. A little surprised, actually, to see Huck choose this map. I know he likes it, but I didn't know he'd like it enough against a player like Idra, because keep in mind, this is MLG Metalopolis, where you cannot spawn in close positions. Often players will choose it thinking, well, I'm pretty good at a straight-up match, but you know what? I will always win a close game. That's not going to be the case on MLG Metalopolis. Huck's going to have a really long-term plan.
And we do see Huck move that probe over to the side. Oftentimes can spot that Overlord, save you a little bit of scouting time, and initially know very early exactly where your opponent is at. At the same time, he had a cross-position scout going out. I'm going to steal away a little bit of money here, as that annoying little Huck probe often is, but he's full of love because he always patrols in hearts, so don't forget about that.
Huck, the king of constellations with rally points. Poking around, spawning pool going down for Idra. We see that again, continuing to try to mine away at those mineral fields. But notice how Idra is really not overreacting at all. Pulling a drone off for maybe half a second, 2 seconds at most to nibble back, but nothing too extraordinary. We do see the gateway going down at the front, the assimilator going down in the main. Huck looks like, again, probably going to go for his standard 3 gateway expand. Oh, planning down that pylon at the last second, but Huck, with his planned responses, going to just calmly plant an extractor.
Yeah, and again, we've seen this play consistently throughout the tournament from Idra. Again, also kind of mirrored on Machine's play as well. And I really like it as a Zerg player. You see it as another dynamic opening. And what I really enjoy, Day, is that as we continue to get this collection of possibilities here, as we have a misplaced Psycore momentarily, is that then all of a sudden, each of these things becomes a new trick in the bag of the Zerg. And there we see the expansion going down. Second hatchery currently in production right now. We do see the chrono boost going down, so those probes are going out earlier for Huck. Something that we actually saw him save his energy in the previous matchup. Can't really say whether that had an overall effect in the end game, but it was something a little bit different from Huck.
I think it did cause Huck to not have enough of an economy for those mid-game pushes where he just seemed to let Zerg do what he pleased a little too long. And there's Idra having a sense of everything that is going on in Huck's base. Second queen popping out right now for Idra, hatch going down. Both players very pleased that they are getting to do exactly what they want, but I think Huck is a little bit less pleased because he is having a clear spot on everything in his main.
And that drone is still in there. Zerglings will come up to the ramp. Speed was just started. And again, we see the queen coming out of the main, drop that creep tumor, and then go ahead and march its way over to the natural. There you see it happening right there as it will finish up. He'll transfer some drones over and get that up and running. Checks that smoke, which is always a smart thing to do. Some tech can be hidden in there. But of course, the surface area on Metalopolis is actually not that big. So easy thing and something you should definitely be checking for.
Continued chrono boost on the warp gate, wants to get that out fast. There's the Zergling speed going down now for Idra. Again, so smart. Note that right as this warp gate is getting close to finish, that's when the speed is getting close to finish. Idra lining that timing up very, very well. And oh, look at this. Might be going for third base. Uh-oh, will he end up seeing it? Yes, indeed he will. So there's the immediate insta-cancel. And it looks like that drone was still alive.
Wow.
Whoa! 4-gate incoming from Liquid Huck. That is a completely unexpected play.
But we also have the probe still alive. He saw that the pylon was going down. He stopped that drone, and we're already getting units in here. We do have 14 Zerglings on the way with speed just about to finish, so he could do some serious damage with those Lings. Also have a Spine Crawler there at the front. Here come those Lings. They are going to try to get that probe moving out, and all these Lings will take out.
Oh, look at that self-force field placement. We're seeing that looks like, oh my gosh, was going for a 5 warp gate, but decided to back out at the last second. And I mean, as much as I would have loved to see a 5 warp gate, I just think that that is a little bit too dangerous for Huck to invest in that many resources for gateways, and then to immediately decide, no, that's not what I meant to do. Let me back up and expand. I'm going to try to keep these sentries alive as long as possible, but a lot has been lost right now for Huck.
Yep, and surprised maybe we didn't see a little bit earlier attack. Here come the Roaches, and those force fields won't save them this time. They're going to take them out, no problem. Zealot will come in. But, of course, Roach versus Zealot can be a little bit rough. They'll get some damage off on those units, but not going to make a difference. Won't kill any of them, and that pylon will ultimately go down. Now, Idra still has this force of Lings out. He's going to immediately send them across the map over to his opponent's base to try to figure out exactly what has gone on since he last had that drone in there. Don't think he sent an Overlord in, but I could be wrong. Maybe just didn't see it, and he is going to see there is the Nexus. He's going to scoot on around, do a little bit of damage there, but we'll know that it's completing soon.
Now, this position that we see Huck in, it's very difficult to do any pressure. I mean, this third base is going down. Idra's playing this off quite perfectly. I mean, there's the evolution chamber going down so we can get the upgrades, but Huck at a clear deficit. The money spot for Zerglings, not only blocking this third base, but also easily establishing a counterattack. Huck, I think, generally would like to get a 5th gateway instead of a forge, but is kind of forced to get the forge and cannons because of that threat.
And we do have +1 attack coming thanks to that forge here for Huck. And we see a Baneling nest going down here.
Oh, now this is a style we haven't gotten the chance to see Idra do, because you know what? Idra has employed so many different variations on his Zerg play. I mean, with the Roach Burrow and Fester play, we've seen him do Roach Burrow Hydra. We've seen him do the normal stuff. But in this game, we're seeing him open up, it looks like, with the melee attack and Baneling nest, so he'll be going for mass Zergling plus speed Baneling, even doing the carpet bombing where you load all the Banelings into Overlord and drop them. Still, you might think that, oh, that's not so effective against Stalkers. Well, you're actually wrong. It's great against any Protoss army because of how clustered those late game armies get.
Yeah, and of course they deal that damage based off of the area that hits, and so they can do quite a bit, and it is pretty surprising. Oh, some Zerglings just kind of taking a beating there on hold position. Stalkers will kill a couple before they move out, and that robotics facility is done with an observer on the way. We've got a couple of Overlords that are going to make their way over to Huck's base as well, because I feel like Idra is probably thinking that he's lacking a little bit of information here, wants to try to get a little bit more out of there. Third base is up, drones are going over, and now we have some Stalkers moving through Huck's gold, possibly all the way around. Could poke in, see if there's a third, and we are also going to see Baneling speed as well as Overlord speed go into effect right now.
So it looks like we see the Observer popping out, but not really going to be any aggression opportunities still, as Idra in clear control. Now, Idra should be adding on a 4th hatch momentarily. We see, oh, look at this, Ventral Sacs popping down on this hatchery. At the third base, he already has Overlord speed done. Huck trying to do a little bit of a push along the right side, but I'm a little leery that it's going to be actually any effective at all. He's trying to dart forward. The best part about these pushes is that you can kill off creep. That's the guaranteed part of the damage, but Idra is rapidly massing up a very intimidating looking force.
Yes, he's pumping out more Zerglings right now, hoping that that +1 attack finishes, and it will right there. Ventral Sacs is about halfway done. More Overlords on the way. 26 more Zerglings on the way as well. And, you know, of course, when you're going with Zerglings against the Protoss army, one of the things that can really, really mess you up, especially with the Banelings, is quite frankly force fields. Even though these units are incredibly cheap and the investment on them is not super high, he will manage to take out this Observer. No, runs away. Maybe. I don't
needs
know.
2 more hits, and there's 1.
No, not going to happen.
Sneaky little Observer.
Those force fields can literally almost evaporate your army just because they no longer have surface area to attack, or they're just completely blocked off from their ultimately their targets.
And those force fields cause the Banelings to spread into the lines and allow the Colossi to easily shot them down. There's one Colossus coming down, and look at this. Huck's actually cutting his gateway production and going expand plus Colossus, but look at this sweet infestation pit down. Look at the amount of Zerglings getting produced. There are 2 Overlords with Banelings already moving out. A first expansion coming down. My mouth couldn't decide what it wanted to say, so I just let it do whatever the hell it wanted. That is another Expo going down for Idra Wheat.
Yeah, and I do like that that idea, for that particular Expo right there. And here we are going to keep a close eye on these Overlords. My God. Oh, my.
He doesn't see it.
You know, even if you did see the corner of it, do you just think it's another Overlord moving around? No, maybe he knows exactly. Yep.
But this is how you force things to work. Moving in with the Zerglings from the left. Nothing but some Sentry Zealots and an Immortal here that Colossus is going to help. But these Baneling bombs are already heading over to the expansion. It looks like Idra will not be able to pierce through the defense on that side, but is trying already to sneak in through here. And it looks like the blink finishes. Oh, Huck with his amazing defense. There is one Overlord that is getting taken down. See you later, Baneling. Another Overlord and fire, but it looks like a big attack by Idra on the left side picks off most of those sentries.
Yeah, almost got that Immortal down. Shields are down, life depleted just a little bit, but you got to know when to pull out in a situation like that, and that's exactly what he did with those Lings. Getting that 4th base up also has that extra in-base hatchery. Now he's going to move forward with these Lings as well as a bunch of Overlords loaded up to, again, just like you said, use that carpet bombing technique to really try to drop it on the top of the army, spreading that damage to as many units as humanly possible.
This is going to be a very tough position for Huck to come back from. We look at the counting station, 132 Zerglings out in the production queue. We see 20 more about to pop, more extractors finishing up. We see the Zerglings trying to briefly check in there, but look at this great positioning by Huck. He's not going to try to wall on this side. He's going to keep it pulled far back, so that way he can easily defend the front of his base as well. And look, there's the Overlord Carpet Bomb, not going to be able to get pulled off, and is building more of these cannons in the back of his base as well. And we're seeing, not really any other attempts at aggression by Idra. But look at that, 6 Infestors popping out, and with these upgrades, he can easily reinforce the Broodlords that seem like they will be coming up the instant that Spire finishes the +1.
Yeah, and we are going to have him move forward now. That Overlord stuck in the back, it's already a rough life as a Baneling because you just live and then you die. But being stuck in an Overlord's even worse. And here come the Lings poking up. They will take a couple of hits there from the Colossus, and they will quickly retreat back. So he's really got to, if he is going to attack into that, he really has to be smart about his attack. He can't just throw it all out there and expect a win. He's got to control it nicely. And I have to say, Huck's unit composition is starting to get really scary. So it looks like go to the Spire, immediately go for the Greater Spire as he already has the Hive Tech done. Hopefully get those Broodlords out to do some damage. Also, we see Neural Parasite underway, and there is a lot of energy to be used here by Huck on his Nexus as well.
And this is, looks like he's continuing to chrono boost both the Forge and the Robotics Facility. Now here's a very important number, +2 upgrades for the Colossus means you rip through Zerglings in one shot at this point. So that does give a little bit of an advantage to the Colossus versus Ling count. I love that Huck is continuing to add in sentries at this point, using Blink to pick off those Overlords and wants to maintain good control over the vision in that area of the map. And Idra's continuing to advance forward. I mean, with this many Infestors and the range on the Neural Parasite, it is so difficult for Protoss to be able to combat that. And it looks like we're not even going to see Huck go for any of that. He's going to trust that his maxed army is better than Idra's maxed army.
Yeah, and how quickly will Idra be able to repopulate his army? Quite quickly. We do have a couple of Corruptors out, and the Greater Spire is done, so we have Broodlords currently spawning in. Looks like he's going to try to come in here and take out this gold. Will probably force a cancel.
Man.
The Colossus are nowhere to be found, and there it goes.
And it wasn't canceled. We see that Huck was below 400 after that Nexus disappeared. So at this point in time, it looks like, Zergling dropping the main, one of the most popular tactics in SC1, popping up now. The more the Protoss ends up expanding around, the more that this can become very effective, but it looks like Huck not going to let any of that funny business happen, thanks to Blink and Idra swinging through the middle of the map to try to do a big push. There's not really anything to be able to deal with the Neural Parasite on those Infestors, and it looks like some Force Shields get thrown down, and he does end up pulling back out, but Idra is not done yet. He is heading up towards this north expansion. We see that he's continuing to get the 3-2 upgrades, swarming up here, going for the Photon Cannons. All the Blink Stalkers trying to make their way up, but it looks like the Infestors have not been able to get in a good position on the map, but either way, Idra does not even care. He is just ripping through the north expansion. All the probes are gone. 47 probes versus 74 drones for Idra. Looks like Huck has managed to clear it out, but will not be replenishing any probes anytime soon. He is going to be continuing to produce nothing but units.
And one of the things that was absolutely awesome about the positioning of Huck's army is that he was able to sit on the edge of that gold base and blink back into his main base in order to actually be, to do the damage and deal with those Zerglings. So Infestors all alone. Oh my gosh. We do see the Banelings coming out. We get some Fungals. The
No Neural Parasites at all. The Carpet Bomb does some huge damage, but all the Colossi are alive and well. Idra misclicks severely in that attack with those Infestors. No need to engage. They're taking some serious damage. There's the Guardian Shields going down. Broodlord's now very vulnerable. Huck with the one-shot action rips through them with relative ease. And look at this. 80 Zerglings were in production. Another 40 out right now. And the Corruptors pulling apart those Colossi. The Zerglings coming in to save the day. How rare, Wheat, that you see the Zerglings as the one unit that lets the Zerg stay alive instead of the Broodlords, instead of those Roaches. Just a huge macro of Idra at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. The Carpet Bomb did do really good. You saw how quickly it eliminated some of those Stalkers. He did also take out all the Colossus with the Corruptors that he had, but he lost all the Broodlords, which was a pretty major hit to his army. Now, the fact that we have Idra on 5 base is good, but Huck with that gold base, that's a little bit scary and something I think Idra wants to try to deal with. We see another pack of Zerglings loaded up into an Overlord for a drop, possibly in the main, and that look.
The Observer, the one that Idra did not manage to kill earlier on, is back, and he is spotting drops and taking names.
I like how I just dropped those 6 Zerglings. Go, boys! And oh no, Infestor's out of position, but they will get a nice fungal off in there, and it will end. They'll blink out of there. But again, note this area right here with these Stalkers. Again, if there is any sort of aggression in the base, the Stalkers can so easily blink into the main base, take care of it, and come right back, showing that Blink gives you that extra mobility that can go oh so far, especially in a map like Metalopolis.
Huck now rapidly catching up in the upgrades. Idra still 3-2, has yet to start that +3 armor upgrade for his Zerglings, perhaps just thinking that, if my opponent has +3 with the Colossus, perhaps no need to get that Carapace upgrade. But you know what? It can never hurt, especially against those workers where you are essentially invulnerable as a Zergling. We do see Idra now continuing to add on more Corruptors, morphing them all into Broodlords. No Void Rays out on the map at all.
And we do have a lot of Broods over here. Looks like he's going to try to back up to the back of the gold base and do some damage. A similar tactic that we saw in the last matchup. We will see the Stalkers move on over. Now, Stalkers are going to be in range just briefly there, but we still see a lot of them getting taken out here from the Broodlings, being chased away. Where is he moving his army then? As he's letting, there we go, to the outside. He's going to actually kind of sacrifice this gold base as he lets the Broods move in. Also, the Infestors over there on the right side.
Oh, yes,
Good
so
stop.
dangerous.
Oh.
He's moving forward with, this is so smart. He's advancing with the non-Blink Stalker units, so that way he doesn't get caught with a fungal growth and lose that expansion. But it looks like Idra continuing to spot well on the left side of the map is going to catch all of these probes off guard, and they will be dying so fast with that 3 attack upgrade. The left expo is going to get canceled. Huck will live on this center expo, but gosh, I don't think I've ever seen that many Broodlords in my life, Wheat. And with the fungal growth plus Broodlords on the Stalkers is going to be lights out.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of probes did go over there to try to supplement the income there at the gold base. Nexus goes down easy. Everything else will go down as well, but God, the ground army of Huck is so ridiculous. 192 is the supply count, and a lot of that supply is those broods right there. And I'll tell you what, get caught out of position just a little bit with those blink stalkers, and we can just see a catastrophe in the making. More corruptors out as well. They will help versus the Colossi, and here
an uncharacteristic misclick there by Idra. We do see the Nexus now going down for Huck at the left side of the map, and Huck doing his characteristic long-range mining while getting hallucination. Ooh, a late-game hallucination. You don't generally see this sort of unit, that sort of ability get used late, but, you know, I'm just so impressed with Huck's ability to keep up that sentry count. Almost all of those are maxed on the energy.
And we do still have, or we had another group of Overlords full of Lings making their way over to his opponent's base. They are going to go ahead and drop in right here. There's just a few Zealots back here, and again, I like this from Huck. Not a big sacrifice to leave some Zealots in there to try to do some damage. Does look like the Lings will go ahead and take those guys out. Work on some pylons here, and depending on what he actually takes away. Oh my gosh, here come the Broodlords, the blink underneath them, and this could be bad. Banelings will come in, do a lot of damage to those front stalkers, but the brood numbers are
Oh my goodness, it looks like Huck just using his superior stalker count to just pop right underneath those Broodlords. He's just going to take all of that damage right in the face. The Banelings, the fungal growths, he's letting those Zerglings rip apart his main because he has crushed Idra's main army and has some hallucinated Colossi out as well.
Wow, seeing that many broods die can make any Zerg speechless. So we're going to see him continue. He's taking a third and fourth base. Zergling's out once again. He will stop that final Zergling who was doing some damage. And now the attack on the gold. What sort of defense do we have? Not much. 2 Broodlords on the way, 3 Corruptors, but that is about it. Where's the rest of his army? A few Corruptors and trapping those very expensive infestors. He doesn't take them out. More Zerglings streaming in to that western natural, the fourth, excuse me, of Huck. And Huck's Zerglings actually doing a ton of damage all over the map, but what about that giant death ball that Huck is still roaming around the map with?
I mean, it looks like Huck is rapidly running low on units. I mean, he's getting the 2-2 upgrades, but this one Forge does not have any power, so now he finally ends up getting that +2, Chrono boosting that one away as well. But, I mean, Huck is almost forced to be defensive at this stage. It looks like Huck just went to kill the gold and pull right back. He doesn't want to get too deep into Zerg territory for fear of a counterattack or just too many units.
And we see some Banelings, unfortunately, living a short life there as they are taken out. Tried to go after those probes. We are going to see an Overlord coming in. Oh no, what is he going to drop? Well, he did manage to get the probes away from that base, but he was carrying exactly nothing. As we see the Broodlord count increasing yet again. Corruptors are thrown in there as well. The Stalker count is much, much lower now. So what will happen here in this battle?
Looks like Huck is going to be pulling back, trying to warp in more Stalkers, but like you said, his Stalker count is low. He cannot warp in that many more, and Idra just has a seemingly endless torrent of Broodlords coming. I mean, he's had hundreds of Broodlords made this game at the very least, and oh my gosh, Void Rays now out on the field, and it looks like there's some Zerglings doing a counterattack in the main. The Void Rays, all hallucinations, doing absolutely no damage whatsoever. There's the blink up onto the high ground, just trying to distract Idra. Those hallucinated Void Rays almost fully charged, Wheat. And Idra left the game.
What happened? What?
Oh
Wait.
My goodness, Idra.
Wait, what happened?
Now, Wheat.
Dana.
When I first played Brood War, someone said, "Wouldn't it be funny if you hallucinated a bunch of carriers and your opponent just left?"
Okay.
That is what
that's gonna end that one. So for those of you who missed it, it happened kind of sudden, which happens in Idra games sometimes. Idra thought the Void Rays were real, so he left the game. So a little bit of an extension on that story. In the next game they played, that was game 2, but they went to a game 3. The chat in the beginning, Huck was like, "Hey man, those Void Rays, they were," and then like Idra's like said some expletive or something. And Idra's just like, Hug, be quiet. Be quiet, please. That's what I think that's what Idra said. But Hug was trying to clarify that those were hallucinated void rays and that Idra had it lost. But that's one of your 32 that are in contention of best of the best on this MLG Classics. Of course, that specific match, Hug versus Idra, is going up against Life versus Pull. So kind of think back a little bit. Life versus Pull, crazy Saturday night at MLG. Hug versus Idra, Hug winning with the hallucinated void rays. It's time for you to decide which one of these is going to move on to the round of 16 of this bracket. Only one can move on. So right now, I would like you to get on Twitter, twitter.com, just type it on your little keyboard. And then either A, you want to vote for hashtag MLG space hashtag Life versus Pull, or hashtag MLG space hashtag Huck versus Idra. And then whichever one is more popular will go on to the next round. I'm looking at the chat right now. Bombjin saying Life versus Pull. The Rabbit22 saying Life versus Pult. Who else do we got? Some people saying Huck versus Idra. So you guys are all over the place in the Twitch chat, it seems. But remember, your vote will not count unless you do it on Twitter. Again, twitter.com and then hashtag MLG. Instructions are right there. I'm pointing to it right there. And then we can see which one will move on to the next round. So, wow, this is so awesome. I'm having so much fun with this. I hope you guys are too. Coming up next, we're going to have a new matchup between games. It's going to be Pult versus Naniwa and Huck versus Kiwikaki, guys. This is Axeltoss. You're watching MLG Classics, best of the best. We're trying to find the best StarCraft 2 game in MLG history, and we need your help. Stay tuned. Short break. Be right back.